All right, so this workshop, we're going to take a look at how we can use Brightspace to help identify and support at-risk students. And I do have a wiki page with some the slides and some resources that I'm going to be talking about today. And so you can find it at this URL. I think they're going to drop that in the chat for you, or you can scan this QR code. I'll put this information up at the end as well. All right, and I want to start out by saying, in case you missed it, we did win 2024 D2L Excellence Award for our work in the Learn Everywhere Zula course and for Lex Advanced. And we're very proud of what we've done with those two courses. And so with Lex Advanced, it takes it a step further than the Learn Everywhere Zula course, where we dig deeper into how to use Brightspace tools and better um, uh, design and automation features and better pedagogical practices and how you can make your courses better. And in particular, over the years, we've had a number of Lex Advanced topics, and they're sort of grouped in these four areas: design your courses to facilitate learning. We had these topics here. We had some topics related to collaborative learning, topics related to assessing learners, and then topics related to trying to help learners stay on track. And so this one here, the support at-risk students, is our 20th Lex Advanced topic, and that's what we're going to dive deeper into today. And so we might recognize this person. Anyway, as I said, this topic here is to how we're going to support at-risk students. And I do like to start off by taking it back to quality matters. So how it does that topic and quality matters, how do they go together, right? And so basically which quality matters standards fit the topic that we're talking about that day. And there is really no specific standard that's focused on identifying or supporting at-risk students, but there are several standards that indirectly promote an inclusive learning environment, and that can benefit our at-risk students. And so taking a closer look with learner engagement, Quality Matters Standard 5 encourages creating activities and fostering interaction. And that can help at-risk students so that they can stay connected to the course and stay motivated. With assessments and measurements, Quality Matters Standards 3 emphasizes using a variety of assessments that cater to different learning preferences. And this can be very helpful for at-risk students because they may learn better through alternative methods. As far as the instructional materials, Quality Matters encourages use of clear, concise, and accessible course materials. And this can remove barriers for at-risk students who might need additional support. Accessibility, Quality Matters encourages incorporating universal design for learning principles to create courses that are accessible and effective for a wider range of learners, including our at-risk students. So before I go any further, I have a question for you. Have you found ways to use Brightspace to help you identify and support at-risk students? If you're online, you can type something in the chat or unmute. If you're in the room, feel free. Have you found ways to use Brightspace to help you identify and support at-risk students?
Elizabeth Smith-Russell wrote, I try to send a lot of emails and announcements to keep students aware of what's going on.
Great. And that is definitely something that would help at-risk students. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else have something they want to share?
I use the rolling percentage grade always that I have set up in the grade book to see who is falling below 70% and then talk to them in the class.
Okay, I heard Harish just barely. It sounds like you were talking about your grade book.
Yeah.
Uses the rolling percentage, so kind of constantly keeping track of how students are doing with their course grade.
Great.
70% kind of threshold.
And similar to that, I use the same thing in the grade book, except the really easy way of just looking at the color coding.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they are red, then I know that I need to talk to them. But I also set it so that they can see if they're red.
Great. I love that. All of these ideas. Great. These are things that can help our at-risk students. So I want to talk about these ways in Brightspace that you can support your at-risk students. And I want to take them one at a time. So the first one that I'd like to talk about is due dates, right? And so our due dates, we know that's the deadline for an assignment or an activity. And so that's important. In Brightspace, you'll see due dates, but then you'll also see availability dates. And so an availability date is going to be used to restrict the student's access, right? And so with an availability date, you can have a start date that tells the system, this is the date that you can open access to this activity. The student can gain access to that. And an end date closes that access. They can't have access after that date, right? So if we look at this assignment that I have here, this is with the assignments tool. So if you've used the assignments tool before, this should look familiar. I've got this week 3 atmospheric influences assignment. I've assigned a due date of October the 4th. And then in my availability dates and conditions accordion, I've indicated to the system that the students will be able to start this on September 27th. And then the access should be restricted. The end date is October the 6th. While it is due on October the 4th, they can submit it after that. And if they do, the system will then just flag it and let me know that it's been submitted late, right? So when you're adding the due date to this assignment, what happens is in the course calendar, then that comes in as an upcoming event. So we see here, I have October the 4th at 5 p.m. This week 3 atmospheric influences assignment is due. So if a student is looking at this, then this lets them know, hey, I have something that's due, right? When I talk to faculty about including due dates, sometimes there's some hesitation about doing that because it's like, well, the dates may change. And so I don't want to go through all the trouble of putting that in, then I got to go back and edit that. Well, this manage dates tool can help you because this manage dates tool will let you edit the dates in bulk, right? And so you can find the manage dates tool in course admin and then manage dates. When you go there, the system will show you all of, and they call these objects, all of the objects in the course that has all of the objects that are in the course. And so you can actually filter by a specific tool. So if I only wanted to see all of my assignments, then I could just check this box and then say apply the filter, and then I would only see the assignments. And you can select all of these or individual dates that you want to make adjustments to. So if I selected a couple of these, maybe I could bulk edit those dates and change those. The one that's kind of neat is this bulk offset dates, with this one, let's say the assignments were going to be due this week, but now they're due a week later, 7 days later. Then with a bulk offset, you can say adjust the dates by forward or backwards X number of days. So you can use this manage dates tool to help you to go in and easily change, edit your dates, right? You can also see which objects have a start or end date that's showing up in the calendar. This is kind of nice too, because this last column over here on the right shows you the visibility status of the objects in the course. So at a glance, you can see which ones are visible to the students, which ones might be hidden, which ones might have some conditions attached to it. And this other dates column can show you objects that might have some other dates associated with it. And this one here is a quiz. And so with this quiz, you may be familiar with what D2L calls submission views. And they have been changed to quiz results displays. But anyway, after a quiz is over, after the testing period, you may want the students to be able to see the quiz after the fact. And so you can set up a submission view. So in here, you can actually see what dates you have assigned to those and make changes to those as well. So this manage dates tool is really helpful when you want to make changes, edit your dates in bulk. The calendar tool lets you add events and activities that happen outside of Brightspace to your course calendar. So you can add events that would happen outside of a Brightspace. Like if your class is a face-to-face class, you can still put events and activities into the course calendar. They would show up there as well. And so to get to the calendar tool, you go to course admin and then calendar. When you're in the calendar, you can create an event using this create event button. And so here's an example of a calendar event that I've added. And so I'm calling this one student drop-in hours. And it's actually another name for my office hours. And I'm inviting the students to drop in during this 90-minute window to get help and answers to your questions. Some students may not even realize what office hours are for. And then also I go on to say other times are by appointment, letting them know you can make an appointment. And then click on this link to schedule an appointment. Indicate when those office hours are, and then you can even enter a recurrence. So I want this to recur weekly, every week, such and such. So I can put those as events in my calendar. And so when you do that, those show up. So you see I have this event October the 1st. These are my student drop-in hours. I've got my week 3 assignment that was due on October 4th. We're having a guest speaker on October the 7th. When a student clicks on this link for the student drop-in hours, then they would see the information displayed to them in this manner here. All right, and so then adding due dates can in fact support your at-risk students. And I asked Google's Gemini using the prompt, please tell me why adding due dates to assignments in Brightspace can support at-risk students. And this is the response that I got. And so it can help set clear expectations, improve time management, reduce the student's stress, keep them accountable. It's a way of communicating with them. All right, any comments, questions before we move on to my next one?
I have a question. So
Yes.
I know that we create something, students should get a notification about it, right? Is that default, or is that something that we can like force the entire class list to have like the notification set?
Okay, I heard part of your question, and I think it's about notification and students getting notified about things. Is that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, like if you
right.
change the due date of something, are they gonna get notified of that change? Or like if you add something, or if you post
All,
something,
all users, as a matter of fact, can set their notification preferences.
right?
So, yeah, each student can go in and indicate what they want to be notified about and how often. And we'll actually talk a little bit about that going forward. But everybody can set their own notification preferences. The default is that most of these things they will get notified by,
Okay,
notified about.
because
Great question.
I think like, I don't know, I'm not sure what the default is for students, but as like an instructor, when I was looking at my stuff, my default was off for all of them. And so I had to like turn some of them
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
And just curious if the student should default it be on as like a university thing
Yeah.
or a class.
Um, I hear you. Yeah, I'm I hear you. One of the things that you as an instructor can do is point out to your students that they have the ability to change their notification settings. So if they want to keep up with their coursework, then they should turn on what they want to be notified about. And even with the instant email notifications, you can even say how often you want to be notified. So everybody customizes their notifications. I don't think students realize that they can, in fact, do that. And so that would be a good way to support at-risk students or support all students, including our at-risk students, right?
I've got a question
Yes.
related to what Timmy just said. He said that he could go in and change it in Brightspace. So we can go in and change that
You
for our
you
students.
can No, you can change your notification settings. Each
Ah,
user, yeah, has to change, customize their own.
okay,
Yes.
that would be
And
cool.
yeah, and I'll get a little bit more into that as we move forward. Was there another question?
There is a question. Can those notifications on Brightspace include sending a text message to the students?
The SMS text messaging there was an end of life to that. So there's no more text messaging that's going to go out through Brightspace.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. The next tool that I want to talk about is the work to do widget. And so this provides the students with a summary of the learning activities that are overdue, or if they have upcoming due dates or end dates, they'll see those. On the My Home page, that's the page that when you enter Brightspace, that's the initial page that you go to where you see all of your courses. There is the work to do widget on the bottom of that page after the My Courses widget up at the top. But the only people that can see the work to do widget is going to be a person with the role of student, right? So you can see the work to do widget on the My Home page, and it is also on the default course homepage. So a student getting into your course, if you're using the default course homepage, then that work to do widget is there and they would see the work that they have to do in your particular course. So on the homepage, they see all of their courses. On the course homepage, they see what they have to do for that particular course. And so the widget is going to display the activities from these tools. So you see assignments is there, discussions, quizzes. If you're using checklists, that'll be there as well. They see a maximum of 6 items but they can click on a view all work button to see all of the work that they have to do. And whether or not something is completed is depending upon the activity. So, for example, if it's an assignment they were supposed to submit, once they submit that assignment, then that would drop off of the work to do widget because it's completed. Right? And so I want to stop and take a moment to talk about the assignments tool. So people are used to using the assignments tool when a student has to submit something to you in electronic format. And so basically a file submission, or maybe they're typing in text. But there are two other assignment types, and one is on paper and the other one is observed in person, which means you can use the assignments tool for assignments or activities that would not happen in Brightspace. They're happening outside of Brightspace, and you just indicate what it is. So for example, if the students had to do a presentation, we could set up an observed in-person assignment. And we would get to the assignments tool by going to activities and assignments. And to set up that observed in-person assignment, we're in the assignments tool. This is our ocean challenge. We would enter a due date for it. And then in our submission and completion accordion, we're telling the system that this is an observed in-person assignment. So this is something I'm going to observe in person, and I would like to mark it as complete automatically upon my evaluation of it. In this example here, you see I've attached a rubric to it as well, so I could use this rubric to grade it. And so the student would actually see this once it's graded inside of Brightspace. But because I'm creating this observed in-person assignment using the assignments tool, and I've got a due date here, this is something that will show up in the widget. So notice I'm viewing this course as a student because I said the work to do widget shows up for roles when your role is a student. So as the instructor, I'm not going to see this work to do widget on my view, but I can see it as a student. And so here that observed in-person assignment is here, right? This Ocean Challenge, and it is due October the 2nd. And then it also shows here that I have that week 3 atmospheric influences assignment that's due on October the 4th. So the students could use this work to do widget to see, I have some upcoming work that I have to do. On the other hand, if the student goes into the course and you don't have any due dates or anything assigned to it, to any of your activities, the student could get the false impression that you have no activities to do, right? You're all clear for now. That's only because there are no due dates or end dates there for the work to do widget to pick up, right? And here's an example of Elizabeth's health psychology course from fall of 2021. And so she has, you can see she has due dates assigned to these assignments here. And then the day that I took the screenshot, there was some that was showing up as overdue. And then these were coming up in the upcoming weeks. And then you can click on this view all work and see all of the work that the student has to do. And like I said, this, you see the work to do widget as a student. So as the instructor, this widget would not show up when you're viewing the course as the instructor. Elizabeth customized this home page, and one of the things that she's also using is the announcements as a way to help the students figure out what it is they have to do for the week. So she has a start and an end date attached to the announcement. And so they can see everything that they have to do for that week. And at the end of that week, because of that end date, that announcement would be retired. And then the announcement for the next week would show up. So that's a way to try to help the students figure out the work they have to do and try to keep up. If you're interested in getting more information about customizing your home pages and widgets, we do have a Lex Advanced topic for that. And also on that wiki resource page that I provided the link at the start of this workshop, there's some information there that would help you get started with home pages and widgets. Any questions about that? If not, once again, I asked Google Gemini to tell me how the work to do widget can help support at-risk students. And so with this, they get a clear visibility of assignments. They can be proactive about tracking their progress, improved time management. They are able to manage their time better, and then enhance student engagement. All right, and here we go with the Pulse app and notifications, right? The Pulse app is designed for learners. You can download the Pulse app on your device and use it, but it's really designed for learners. So there'll be some things as the instructor you'll find you cannot do, but this app was really designed for learners. It can help them stay connected. They can get real-time updates and alerts, and they can set their notification preferences, right? So with the Pulse app, you see in this view here, there's a work to do tab, so they can see all of their activities from all of the courses that have a due date or an end date would show up. The events tab displays the course calendar events. And then the all tab is going to combine the work to do and the events. This upcoming tab down here at the bottom is your upcoming work and activities. And so that's what this display is, showing upcoming work and activities. And we can see these three tabs here. You have the courses tab, which is kind of obvious what that's for. And then the notifications tab is where you get notified about course-related items, updates, grades, and announcements. So I think it was Timmy mentioned, was it? I'm not sure who did. Like if you, there's another module that's made available or whatever in the course, then you get a notification that that information is there. So all of that comes in under the notifications tab. So without any due dates, if the student is looking at what's upcoming under work to do, they may get the false impression that there is nothing to do, right? This events tab is where you're going to see the course calendar events. So here is where I had the guest speaker coming in. And if you touch on this courses tab here, you see the courses, and then you can swipe up and down to find your courses that you're enrolled in. When you're in the courses view, if you touch assignments, discussions, or the quizzes icon, then that will launch the respective page where that information is. So they can get directly to that by touching one of those icons. And if they want to get into the course, you can touch this tile and it will take you to the course's table of contents. It will take you directly to the course's table of contents. So I said, touching a tile will take you to the course's table of contents. And so if I were to touch this tile here for the Learn Everywhere Zula course, then it should open up this table of contents. Notice I can see content here and I can also see grades. If you happen to be using the activity feed widget, then you would also see activity feed showing up here in this particular view. Announcements are not going to be shown to the students here. Announcements will be, they'll see that under the notifications here, right? And so if I wanted to go to the course homepage, if I was trying to get to the Learn Everywhere Zula course homepage, right in the upper right corner, there are 3 dots. So if I touch those, it opens up a little shortcut menu where I can actually launch the course homepage. When I launch the course homepage, then I can see that course homepage and I can swipe up and down to see everything that would be on the course homepage, right? But like I said, touching the tile initially takes the students into the table of contents for the course. When they want to get to the course homepage, touch the 3 dots, launch course homepage, and then you get to the course homepage. So I just want to do a comparison here of content so you can see where we are. So on the Pulse app, you touch the tile and it took you to the table of contents here. Looking at this in the web browser view, you're in the course, you touch content, and you see table of contents here. And so this is what it's showing in this Pulse app, the table of contents. These 3 items that are at the top are not a part of the table of contents, right? So what happens if you put information in the overview? Is anybody using overview? The students don't have a direct way in this Pulse app to get to the overview, right? So I'm going to get into an explanation about something else, but I want to point out that when I'm referring to the nav bar, the navigation bar, I'm talking about this row right here, which has the help, your course admin, content discussions, and so on and so forth, right? So we were talking about trying to get to that overview, right? So remember, to get to the course homepage, you click the 3 dots, launch course homepage, and then that takes you here. I'm at the course homepage. So from this course homepage, to try to get to the overview, navigating to overview, I need to click on this, well, not click, but I need to touch this hamburger icon. That opens up my navigation bar. See here, help, course admin, content. Touch content. And then it opens that up and I can get to overview. So trying to get information from overview is not that straightforward and it's not really that intuitive, right? So once you get here, if you touch overview, it will take you down to the bottom of this page, or you can actually swipe up to see the overview, because your first time in there, it'll take you to the overview, right? So that being said, you may want to be selective about what you put in this overview area, because if a student is actually trying to use the Pulse app, they may not be able to get to it, or may not realize that there's some information in there for them, right? And so that being said, I just want to briefly mention that right now, there may be some of you who are using simple syllabus. And so if a student were trying to use the Pulse app to get to the simple syllabus, they would have to navigate to the course homepage, touch this hamburger icon, and then touch simple syllabus. I would imagine that as more people are required to use this simple syllabus, some additional information may come out as to how to go about using this. So it's a little bit more straightforward for the students to be able to get to that. But right now, this is what is happening, and this is how you would get there. All right, moving right along. We were talking about the settings and the fact that everybody can customize their own settings, right? So in this Pulse app, you can touch the Xavier University seal. It opens up this side panel. You go to settings, and then you see here you can set your push notifications and your email notifications. So this is for each individual. And so students using the Pulse app can indicate which notifications they want to get. And I believe this defaults to all will be on. But if some students decide, well, I don't want that, they have the option to turn that off. The email or instant notifications are here. And then here you can indicate, I want to get an email with these things. You check them off. And then you can indicate if you want to get a summary rather than, each time something happens, you can indicate that as well and then save those settings. This notifications information here that's in the Pulse app is exactly the same as the notifications if you were in the web browser. You go to your personal menu and you click on notifications, then you can set your email notifications from there as well. And like I said, this is for each individual user can set the notifications however they want. Students probably don't know that they can do that. So this may be something that you would want to, some information you would want to provide to your students. Any questions? Well, I've got this. As I was putting together this presentation, I came across this known issue that there are calendar events that are not showing up in Pulse in the upcoming calendar. And this was posted in May of this year. Notice they don't have a resolution or a workaround. I actually discovered this when my example of my office hours drop-in, I had it as a recurring event, recall. And so when I was looking for it in the Pulse app, I saw the first entry, but I didn't see the subsequent recurrences. And so they were actually not there, which prompted me to go to this known issues and sure enough, this is here. So that is some information for you. They don't give us an indication as to when this might be resolved, nor do we have a workaround.
Is that a known issue
So,
for?
pardon me, I see a question there.
Yeah, is that a known issues for just like Xavier?
No.
Oh, oh.
I'm sorry, I should have pointed out, this is from the Brightspace community.
Okay.
So if you're following us on the Cat Food blog, you'll see at the very end of any of my Brightspace tips, I have a link to where you can get to the Brightspace community. And so if you're not a community member, you may want to join, but that is where that information is. And this is not walled off. So this is some information that is out there and public facing, their known issues list. And so, like I said, I went to that list and I was able to see that, hey, that was something. But based on everything that I'm saying to you about Pulse, and what you can and cannot do, then perhaps the question that you may want to ask yourself is my course Pulse friendly? So if a student is using the Pulse app, is the way that I've designed my course going to help them get through the course with the Pulse app? And like I said, one of the things is, do I really want to use the overview or, anyway, based on what we just talked about, how can we set up our courses to make them more friendly for students who are using the Pulse app? And then I also asked how can using the Pulse app and customizing the notifications support the at-risk students? They get real-time communications and updates. It can personalize the learning experience, help them get better organized and improve their time management. They get easy access to grades and feedback. And it's just overall helpful, because we're not going to move students away from using their mobile devices. The next thing I want to talk about is class and user progress. And with this, you get a high-level view of the learner performance across the entire class. So this is useful for predictive practices and also for preventing learner disengagement. And with the class progress, you have these different progress indicators that you can look at, that you can use. And to get to the class progress tool, you go to course admin and then class progress. When you get into class progress, it looks like this. And so you see the progress indicators here. You can only see 4 at a time. If these 4 or any of these are not useful for that particular course, then you can actually replace them with others that might be. And you would do that by going here to settings. When you get to settings, then you just go to whichever one you don't want, click on the arrow and indicate that you want to replace it with another. And so you can have the progress indicators that are important for that particular course. You also have a link here to be able to go straight to intelligent agents so that you can automate the feedback to the students, right? So you can use that link. So with the class progress tool, you can monitor learners' overall progress in your course. You can be selective about the data points that are relevant to your course. You can take a deeper dive into a single learner's progress and their success in the course. And then you can quickly jump to your intelligent agents to automate nudges to the students. To get to the user's progress summary, you would just click on a user's name from here, and that will take you to their user progress summary. Alternatively, you can go to the class list, and by any user, the arrow to the right of their name, you click on that and then choose View Progress, and you would actually see their progress summary. So this helps you to identify what it is they're doing. You can click on any of these any of these items to dive deeper, get more information about that student's progress. So you can use class and user progress to identify and support your at-risk students by monitoring their overall progress. You can utilize those visualizations. You can set up alerts and notifications. Here you can leverage using the intelligent agents, and I'll get into intelligent agents in a moment. Do some targeted interventions so that class and user progress can help you identify and support your at-risk students. The next step, the next thing that I want to talk about is release conditions. And release conditions allow you to create a custom path through the course. The learners will not be able to see an item with a release condition that's attached to it until they meet whatever the condition is. And so all of these tools can have release conditions attached to them, right? And so if I were trying to attach a release condition to a content module, for example, module in content. So let's say I had some Unit 1 supplemental resources that I wanted to release to anyone who made less than or equal to 79% on the quiz called Unit 1, right? So that person, they're kind of in the high C range, but maybe they need access to more resources, so I can release that content module to them. So to be able to do that in content, I would click on this Add Dates and Restrictions. Once I do, I want to create a release condition, so I'm going to click on Create. And then I will indicate the condition type that I'm trying to attach. So I will select a condition type. And here, this condition is going to be score on a quiz. It's going to be a Unit 1 quiz. It has to be less than or equal to 79%. And then I click on Create. When I do, it returns me here, and then I just need to verify that the release condition I'm trying to attach is correct. That looks correct. And then I click Update. And that will attach that release condition to this Unit 1 Supplemental Resources module. You can attach several release conditions to an item, and the learner has to meet all of those conditions, right? So in this example here, same Unit 1 quiz, the same criteria, the 78 less than or equal to 79%, but they also have to have submitted to the Assignment 1 folder. So when both of these conditions are met, then these supplemental resources would be released to them. You can attach multiple release conditions, and they only have to meet one condition. So for this Unit 4 supplemental resources, they receive less than or equal to 79% on that Unit 4 quiz, or they receive less than or equal to 79% on this Unit 4 discussion prompt. So any one of these two things would release this supplemental resources module. So one condition must be met, or all of the conditions must be met, but you cannot have a release condition for something that some of the conditions are met and not all. So for example, if you have 5 release conditions attached, you cannot, there's no option that says if they meet 3 of the 5. It's either one of the conditions are met or all of the conditions are met. And so these tools can serve as a release condition. I'm not going to get into the details of those, but I do want to point out, for if you're using the condition type grades, your options are grade value on a grade item, or no grade received, released final grade, or a score on an associated rubric. For content, they either have to have visited or not visited a content topic, visited all content topics, or completed or not completed the content topic. And then visited is determined by the completion tracking method that's attached. So if someone clicks on a content topic and the tracking method is automatic, as soon as they clicked on it, then that would trigger the yes, it has been visited. The completion, the completed or not completed depends on what it is. So if it were an assignment, then they would have to have submitted the assignment, and then that would indicate that that is completed, or not submitted that assignment, and that would indicate that that's completed. We have a lot of information about release conditions and setting those up in the Learn Everywhere Zula course. There's a release conditions module, and there's also some information on the wiki. I'm noticing that I have about 8 minutes and a whole lot more information to talk to you about. So this information here that I have on why release conditions can be used to identify and support at-risk students. This information is on the wiki. So I'm going to skip over that and move directly into the intelligent agents. And so with intelligent agents, these monitors the course to find activity that's going to match criteria that you set. And you can either send an email or generate a report. You get to your intelligent agents by going to course admin and then intelligent agents. And then here on the agents list page, I have two example agents that could help support, identify and support at-risk students. This one here is students falling behind. And this one here is to notify the student that Unit 1 supplemental resources have been released to them, right? So to create an agent, you would click on this new agent button. And then when you get to the intelligent agents page, the option that is required here is the one with the asterisk. So you would give the agent a name, but I do suggest that you enter a description for the agent, because if you go back, if you have a lot of agents or you want to use them semester after semester, then it would be a lot easier if you put in a description to help you later on when you're trying to figure out what that agent does. So here I'm saying the purpose of this agent is it's going to scan the system to identify learners who are falling behind and have not accessed the course in the last 7 days. This is going to run weekly from the beginning of the semester to the end, right? And then down here at the bottom, there are 3 accordions that you have to expand to be able to set up this intelligent agent properly. So if I expand the scheduling agent, remember I said I want this to run weekly, repeats every week on a Monday at 7 a.m. between these dates. Then I set the criteria, which users that I want to go to scan the course for to see if they meet that criteria. The students with the users with the role of student. And then here, I want them to look at course activity. User has not accessed the course in the last 7 days. This course activity is specific to your course. Login activity is related to logging into Brightspace. So it could be possible that they're logging into Brightspace, but not into your course. So that's why I'm saying course activity, user has not accessed the course in the last 7 days. And then from there, you get into actions, repetition. I'm saying take action every time the agent is evaluated. So every week when it runs, take action and see who meets that criteria. I want to send an email. I'm using some replace strings. This one here is initiating user. And so a replace string goes out and captures information and then substitutes it. So this initiating user is actually the email address. In this example here, I'm blind carbon copying myself so that I'll know what email went out, but you don't have to do that because you can always go back to the intelligent agent and view the history to see which emails were sent out. I'm also substituting this replace string here, org unit name, which is going to be the name of the course. I'm saying, are you okay? And then here, initiating user first name, it'll substitute the person that triggered this, their first name. And I'm substituting org unit name in here as well. So you haven't logged into whatever the name of the course is in a while. And then, some kind words here, let me know. When you're working with the intelligent agents, you'll see links in various places that will help you figure out what it is you can and cannot use. So this one here is what special email addresses can I use? So if you forget or don't know what to use here in the email address, you can click on that link and it'll tell you. And then this one, what replace strings can I use in the subject and in the message? So once you get your intelligent agent all set, then you click on the save and close. And then this is just a table that explains some of or shows some of the common replace strings. So we were talking about the initiating user. That's that email address. Org unit name is the course name. Initiating user first name is their first name. So, and this is not, this is an abbreviated list of replace strings. So you have to use the correct replace string that'll work for it to pull in that information. So that second intelligent agent, while I did set up that module that would release the Unit 1 supplemental resources, I do need to let the student know that that information has been released to them, right? So I'm calling this agent Unit 1 supplemental resources, and I'm explaining exactly what it's being used for. And then this only needs to run once after that Unit 1 score is posted, right? So then if I look at my scheduling, I only wanted, it's a one-time run, and I just wanted to run on this particular day, because that's going to be after the quiz, right? And then I will set a release condition. So here under release conditions in my criteria, I'm creating this release condition that where they have to receive a score of less than or equal to 79% on the Unit 1 quiz. So the students that meet this criteria, then I want to send them this email, right? So I've got my initiating user, the student that triggered it. But notice here under my repetition, I'm saying take action only the first time the agent's criteria is met. I'm using my replace strings in here, but I also have this quick link. So when the student gets the email and they're reading through it, and I'm saying I've made available some supplemental resources for Unit 1. So when they receive the email, this quick link will actually take them directly to that module in the course, right? So they don't have to go in the course and try to figure out where the Unit 1 module is. This quick link will help them get there quicker. So quick links are very helpful. And in the wiki resource, there's a reference to the quick links, so you can get more information about that and how to use those. And in the Learn Everywhere Zula course, there's a Lex Advanced topic that goes into more details about intelligent agents. And this information here is on the wiki resource as well, why using intelligent agents can help identify and support at-risk students. So you can review that at your leisure. And then some information on supporting at-risk students in large classes, right? Leverage the technology. So the technology is going to help you provide a more personalized support at scale. So you can use Brightspace to track individual student progress and engagement, implement adaptive learning to customize the content, utilize discussion boards for more one-on-one interaction, and definitely create short instructional videos to provide targeted help on common issues. Employ flexible grouping, break large classes into smaller groups, right? Use peer learning groups. Provide multiple feedback channels. Offer various ways for students to receive individualized feedbacks, rubrics, self-assessments. And in the Brightspace, we have a self-assessment tool. Leverage peer review. You will definitely want to streamline your administrative tasks, right? So use automated grading tools where appropriate. Create clear systems for common student questions. So a Q&A discussion forum would be helpful here. You can have students actually answering the questions for each other, right? And then build community in your course. Accessibility. So accessibility is this practice of ensuring that all students, irrespective of their abilities or backgrounds, have equal access to educational materials, resources, programs, and opportunities. They need equal access. We had a whole workshop last spring on accessibility, and one of the focuses here was using this basic 4 of accessibility. So you can improve the accessibility of your course content by doing 4 things that we suggested. And that's keep in mind your document structure. So use heading level text. If it's a list, use a bulleted or numbered list. Don't use tables for formatting. Make sure that it is truly a table, a simple table. Um, any images should have alternative text attached to it. Your media should be accessible, so it needs to have closed captions and transcripts. And if you're using third-party resources, you definitely want to make sure that those are accessible as well. And so in the Learn Everywhere Zula course, there was an accessibility and usability module that you can review. And also that Lex Advanced topic, Make It Accessible, where we took a deeper dive into making your course and your course content accessible. That's available in the Lex Advanced topics. And I want to ask this question. Are students tech savvy or are they tech struggling? And so in spring of 2024, one of the student focus groups that we had, a student made this actual comment here that you see. I don't appreciate when professors just assume because we are young, we know how to use this stuff. We're learning with y'all. That's an actual quote from a student. There's a misconception that 21st century students are proficient with all technology, even in the absence of clear instructions. And that is just not the case. They may know how to use the technology they use personally for their social media and all of that, and but not the technology they need for their classes. And so we need to provide them with some help. And so when we designed our Learn Everywhere Zula course, and this is version 2 of the course, we took into consideration quality matters standards and then better course design practices, right? So, for example, when you enter this Learn Everywhere Zula course, you see the welcome message. We have these widgets and whatnot. But in the welcome message, for example, it's welcoming the students to the course, welcoming you all to the course. And then specifically, when you're ready to begin, go to the content page and then select Get Started Here. This is actually a quick link, which means you can actually click on that and it will take you exactly where we're trying to get you to go. So when you go to the Get Started Here module, it's organized such that you have the things that you need, this welcome message, take a tour of the course, what's important for your success, the visual cues that you'll see as you're navigating around the course, how do you earn digital badges, the technology requirements and support, what do you need, in terms of technology and how do you get support. So if you look further at that topic, we have the different things that would help you be successful in this course in terms of technology and your support. And then the places where we could link out, there's a quick link that actually takes you directly to whatever it is. So we're providing that information and it is in this module. Now, as a person is working through the course, later on, they may not remember or know or recall where to actually go to find that support. So in addition to providing that information in that module, every time we're asking that you do an assignment or an activity, we include instructions on what you're going to do with that activity, but also how to use that tool, right? So you see here, it says that you can use the @mentions feature. And then if you're not familiar with working with discussion forums, here's a link to a video and then some quick instructions to post to this discussion topic. Click on Start a New Thread if you want to include some video notes, how to do that. So if you're looking at this discussion forum, you don't have to try to navigate back and figure out how do I use this? This information is there for you. So that just makes for a better experience for using the course. And I would suggest that you get feedback from your students, right? And so this feedback As a matter of fact, that's what we ended up doing because what I just showed you was version 2 of the Learn Everywhere Zula course. And so everybody that went through that course in the summer of 2020 had an opportunity to fill out our course evaluation. And from that information, we took that and we made some improvements to version 2 of the course. So if you solicit that information from the students, then that can help you as you try to improve your course. And you can do that with the surveys tool in Brightspace. You can gather anonymous or non-anonymous information from the students. You would get to the surveys tool by going to course admin and then surveys. All right. And so just checking in. What I've discussed so far kind of squared with what you were already thinking? Or did you gain some important ideas? Or do you have some questions that are still circling around in your head? Anybody? No?
Well, the thing is, like, I've run into some issues.
I can't hear you.
I run into some issues in the past with my course because I'm using Cengage and I don't think it's pulse friendly. Like,
Yeah.
because Cengage, what happens is when you click the
Yeah.
assignment, it will pop up into a new window. But then if you do it through the Pulse app, it won't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I told IT about it, and they alerted the Brightspace team. And then Brightspace said, I don't know what happened after that, but I don't think Brightspace knew that that's the issue.
I was gonna kind of mention something similar. I don't use Cengage, but I use a lot of the other kind of third-party systems like VoiceThread. And I think students under the misconception that they can do absolutely everything they need to do
On Pulse.
through Pulse.
Yeah.
And they can't.
Right.
About half of it just goes to a web page.
Yeah.
And then those third-party things, I think, often just break it because
Right.
those aren't set up to work on a phone at all.
Yeah. And then so like if I wanted to like say update the assignments on Cengage, it won't update it on the assignments on Brightspace.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. But it will like update the scores because it knows how to do that. And so like yes, I can update it on Brightspace, but then it's like I have to do like double.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues, and I agree. Like maybe there should be like an alternative of like making the course more pulse friendly, but I also think this is probably something that Pulse can think about pop-ups on the third party.
Yeah, I mean, in the short term, I think it might be the kind of thing we need to make sure our students understand that the Pulse app is really a way to kind of stay in touch with Brightspace in the course, but it's again, it's not a way to do everything. They can't do a college class on a phone.
Right.
That's you know, kind of a misconception I've had students. I think.
Because I definitely do like the email alerts, right? That's new. I didn't know that I could do that with Brightspace. And kind of like had it bother me if the student doesn't score well on the quiz, like they just send out kind of thing. But like, how would if I have that incorporated with Cengage and say, oh, you haven't turned in your homework in like 3 weeks, it should send out an email.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that's what I would like to do. But maybe it doesn't recognize that because homeworks are coming from Cengage.
Well, if Cengage is scoring it
and pushing it into a
grade book, maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah, happy the kind of thing you need to come in and just kind of play.
Yeah.
You can sit down with Janice and see if you can kind of play with it a little bit to kind of see what's possible sometimes.
Yeah.
But it also might be the kind of thing, maybe we need to reach out to somebody at Cengage and get a little more informed about what is and what isn't possible with the connection between Cengage. Well, I say we, but really I would really mean ITC.
Yes.
In terms of what is and what isn't possible, sometimes it could just be a setting, maybe that's not turned on, right? Or a switch that hasn't been set. Or it could be that no, we can't do that. But that might be to follow up.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
another thing about like the supplemental resource, like if it turns on, does the student get a notification that it turns on? Or I guess,
Like with a release condition,
yeah,
like if you have a release condition for the student to have access to that.
yeah,
That
like
particular-
yeah, like if they score below something on a quiz, like we can set up the email and say, hey, I'm checking in on you.
Mhm.
But like, you know, we could also add in like, here's some supplemental resources. Is the student gonna get an email about that, or should we just put that in the email?
The student would actually get, if they have their notification set, they would get notified that new content is available once that's released to them.
Oh.
So they would see that. But to be more proactive as well, you could be have the intelligent agent automatically send them an email
Yeah.
too. But yeah, they should get notified that there's new content available in that course. If they're in that Pulse app, if they're on the web, it'll be the little alerts icon up at the top in that mini bar. But thank you. Now, and this conversation is good. I realize we're way over time, but I do want to point out that as we looked at this and see what we like, what we don't like, D2L and the Brightspace community, they really want to hear from the user community. And so we do have a way to do that. And that's with this product idea exchange. And so this blog post is actually on that wiki page as well. And so this gives you some information about the community, but we have actually put together a collection of pie ideas that you can actually look through to consider trying to upvote.
Right.
And D2L is actually looking to see or get feedback from the user community where they need to make improvements and stuff. And every month we get a continuous delivery update. And so they do try to implement something that was a request from the pie as a part of that monthly update. And over the years, we have seen where they have introduced some things that we thought were important to us. And so I do want to point out that there are two related to the Pulse app in particular that you may want to become a community member. You have to be a member of the community and then upvote. And this one here is to be able to display the syllabus within the Pulse app. Okay. And this next one is add a view as Pulse, just like you have a view as student view. So it would make it easier for the instructor to be able to see what the students are seeing when they go to use the Pulse app, right? Right now, the person who submitted this says, what value would you receive if this was implemented? And these are some good reasons, some good value down here. So you have that option as well. I would encourage you, if you're not already a Brightspace community member, to join the community and actually add your voice to the conversation. So as we wrap up, Brightspace can be used to identify and support at-risk students. So at this point, I hope everybody is somewhere over here by a thumbs up, that we can use that to help us. But everything that we've been talking about today is a strategy that can benefit all students. So if we're better organized, better course design, all of these things can benefit all students, but especially our at-risk students. And so here's the link to the wiki resource page again. And so your attendance and participation in this workshop today earns you the Support at-Risk Students badge for Lex Advanced. And this badge will be awarded to you in the course. And just because I can, I am going to give you some confetti.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have any questions, I'll take any last minute questions, but I appreciate and thank you for your time and attendance, and sorry for the going over. I knew that we had a lot to discuss today.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.